Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are talking right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, a guy who's been a successful professional handicapper for almost 30 years, including this year. We're trying to identify some possible profitable advice from the baseball card of Wednesday, July 29th. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Is that accurate? Successful professional handicapper for almost 30 years, including this year?
That is very much true, and the truth is I've been handicapping overall for close to 40 years, but publicly this would be the 28th season.
All right, that sounds great. Justin Verlander, right, at Boston with the wind in. He threw a great game, right? 8 innings, 1 run, just 3 strikeouts, but no walks. The wind was blowing in that one, but still, a good start is a good start. Here he's going to be at Tampa Bay, another relatively soft assignment. I don't know. What do we expect from Verlander? You expect another good start from him here? I'm thinking probably yes.
He is pitching a lot better. Now, keep in mind that the public, once they see Verlander pitching a little bit better, they're going to jump on him. So it gets back to that magic question of value. But he's no longer that overvalued fade. I think he is trending upward, especially, Chris Archer has had a so-so July, 4.29 ERA in July, but does have 3 career starts against Detroit where he's pitched pretty well again. 3 career starts, not significant enough. So I would say maybe a little bit of a possibility of an under here, but no real strong leaning either way because the jury is still kind of out on Verlander, I would say.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to be looking for him to get crushed at times in the future, but the spot's going to matter. And I think in this one, a 12 o'clock start on the road at Tampa Bay against Tampa Bay, I don't know if this is the spot where I'm going to be looking for a subpar start from him. And then Chris Tillman, another excellent start in his last game, and now he's going to be at home against Atlanta. We've been talking about how Atlanta's lineup is, one of the weaker lineups in baseball right now. So a pitcher who's doing well or is in a spot to have a bounce-back start is probably in a good position if he's facing Atlanta. Chris Tillman, terrible for most of the year, but he's been excellent recently and probably going to be able to keep it going here at home against Atlanta, right, Joe?
Yeah, and the Braves have set a record. I think they were saying the other day they've already set the record for the most starting pitchers this year. And what that says is, look, they don't have a lot of stability, and the Braves, it's been no secret they are playing for the future, and I know that you have been a big Chris Tillman supporter all year long, and you are correct. He's one guy who is sneaking under the radar and probably another pretty good spot here against a Braves team. Like I said, I think they're really looking more towards seeing who they've got who is good enough for a major league roster, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Braves are a pretty good go against from this point on, especially against an undervalued pitcher in Tillman.
I was actually fading Tillman most of the year when he was getting crushed and doing that successfully. And then when he started to turn the corner, I was, hesitant for 1 or 2 starts, but then I started to be a buyer on him, and now I definitely am, especially when he's in a spot like this. And then let's talk about Jon Lackey's next start, right? Unbelievable, this guy, Jon Lackey. 8 starts in a row where he's given up no more than 2 runs and consistently going 7 innings. Here he's going to be at home against Cincinnati, and DeSclafani on the other side, very vulnerable, although DeSclafani's been a lot better on the road. He even pitched okay at Coors in his last start. His home road splits are very, very favorable for road starts. And what's the line going to be here? I don't know. I'm guessing that St. Louis is probably going to be a favorite of what, like minus 180 or something. Yeah. I'm thinking, I don't know if DeSclafani is really going to be as vulnerable as people are expecting.
As great as Lackey has been, he's been even better at home. 1.97 ERA in 10 home starts. Keep in mind that, with Johnny Cueto finally gone, that's going to have a little bit of a residual effect that the starters are going to be asked to pitch even longer because the bullpen's going to have a big strain on them. And I think it's quite obvious that the Reds are sellers here. But again, this is really the point where the truthfully, the non-contenders at times can be better value in what are considered maybe on the surface obvious situations to go with the favorite. But as you said, you're going to lay a big, stiff price for St. Louis. So, St. Louis would seemingly be the obvious play here, except is it going to be worth laying the big number? Probably not.
All right, Joe. And then I guarantee you, Joe Duffy, that some of our viewers watching this video right now have gotten burned. Some of them probably burned pretty badly betting the Cubs with Jon Lester starting as a big favorite recently. He's been absolutely dominant in July, but the Cubs are just 2-3 in his 5 July starts, and they're 1-5 in his last 6 starts at home. Here he's going to be going up against Colorado, Eddie Butler. We know what his stats are. Again, the Cubs are going to be a big favorite here, but that has been an absolute sucker bet, a trap over the past couple months. Do you think that's going to be the case here again?
Very possibly. He's obviously going to be laying a big number. Keep in mind that Eddie Butler, one of the things about the Colorado starters that in some cases it's actually obviously easier to pitch on the road, but Butler has struggled on the road. He's got a 4.5 ERA, and he's actually given up more hits than innings pitched, 46 hits and only 39 in the third innings pitched. So you do have a good pitching mismatch. As you said, Chicago hasn't really supported Lester all that much. I think that's kind of more of an aberrational thing and just kind of bad beats for him. I really don't look for that to continue, but still, you're going to have to be laying a pretty generous number here. So, but I do think, like I said, because the bats are a little bit of an aberration, maybe as bad as Butler's been on the road, could be a surprise, at least for people who've been betting Lester. Might be a surprise. I might even lay the 1.5 here.
And then I want to ask you about Masahiro Tanaka. He has been pretty good, but he's been giving up home runs, and that could come back to bite him eventually, and particularly here. 5 home runs in his last 2 starts and 11 home runs over his last 6 starts, and here he's going to be, at Texas against that lineup, could easily have another 2 or 3 home run game here. And then Colby Lewis on the other side, usually pretty dependable at home, but once in a while does get hit pretty hard. The Angels crushed him at home. I don't know. Tanaka, he's been getting it done despite the home runs, but maybe he gets burned here. What do you think?
And Texas, really, I would look as much at their bats. Their bats have been so streaky this year. They got off to a great start. They had the highest units won in Major League Baseball. Then they went into the big slump. And I'll admit, I thought that they were going to be a big fade team. And I had admitted to you that I just got out of a very rare slump this year. And part of the reason was I was fading Texas, but Texas has all of a sudden come around. And Colby Lewis, just the opposite of some of the other pitchers we talked about, hasn't been pitching that great, but he's actually gotten some pretty good run support. So I would think, if anything, that maybe the Texas, they seem to be a little bit on the upside. They might be pretty good value here.
All right, well, a lot of interesting handicapping situations for Wednesday as of right now. I think my only 2 real solid leans are under in Cincinnati, St. Louis, and that Chris Tillman is going to have a strong start. A lot of interesting situations, though. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring to our attention, Joe Duffy, for Wednesday, July 29th?
Well, I always like to keep an eye out for split, and I should preface this by saying I do think a lot of people overanalyze splits, so I want to be a little cautious still. When something screams out, you can't ignore it. For Miami, Tom Kohler, 1.68 ERA at home in 11 starts compared to 4.37 road starts, but he is pitching at home, so we might get some pretty good value there.
All right, thanks so much, Joe.